subject or thought that's on my heart and mind since yesterday. God deals with depression. God deals with depression. Depression means to be hopeless, dejected, despaired, weird. There's different words that describe what depression is. There used to be on the TV show, I've mentioned it before, on the Hee Haw show, it says they had a song they sang, gloom, what? Despair, agony on me, deep dark depression, excessive misery. Now that songwriter that wrote that, I used to know his name, but sometimes we get despaired, depressed, and so we need to think about that. America loses $1 million a year because people having depression and don't go to work. Now, I've seen one survey on the computer about that. It said 17 million, but I'm sure it's bigger than that. But we get depressed, and so people miss work because of being in a depressed state. Lost $1 million in productivity. Brother David knows how productivity means, what it means. You had to do a certain amount when you worked with the railroad, and if we didn't, there'd be a layoff or whatever. But the productivity of the company is down, down, down. You watch TVs and it's depressing. A lot of things on TV is just depress you. You watch it over and over and over, and it sinks in your mind, it becomes a mindset. But it's horrible things that are happening around the world, and of course Trump's blamed for most of it, but the government can shut down, which it did, and they're trying to impeach Trump. So you get depressed when you watch TV or whatever and see these things happening. I know a couple of years back that my boy, he worked for the federal government, and when they shut the government down, guess where his paycheck went? He didn't get it. It went back to the government. And it took them 2 or 3 months to get it all paid back. They eventually paid him, but he was working without even getting a paycheck. And but you see how things like this, I'm telling you, will bring you down, down, down. And God deals with depression. We're going to find out that. Can things get worse in the United States?
Yes.
Every day it seems like it's something new, doesn't it? So we get depressed. Well, let's look at what the Bible says and think about. I got about 4 or 5 that I think got real depressed, and we say, well, I'll never get depressed. You will. You can get depressed easy, and it don't take much. You may not have never been depressed yet, but trust me, I feel like you will, and I know I will. I get depressed and downhearted and deep. Turn to Ecclesiastes. Well, let me ask you this before we turn to that. Who comes to your mind? I'll give you a chance to get ball rolling there on depression. Who comes to your mind? Anybody that was depressed?
Elijah.
All right, Elijah was. Well, let's look at Elijah. I got that on my chart. Turn back to Kings chapter 19.
First or second King?
First King. First King chapter 19. Brother David, you want to start that off? Well, let's go, before we ever do that, let's go back to Kings 18th chapter and start with verse 21. Okay. 18 verses 21. And think about being depressed. That means brought below, hopeless, dejected, despaired, weary.
And Elijah came unto all the people and said, how long halt ye between 2 opinions? If the Lord be God, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him. And the people answered him not a word. Then said Elijah unto the people, I, even I only, remain a prophet of the Lord. Baal's prophets were 450 men. Let them therefore give us 2 bullocks, and let them choose 1 bullock for themselves, and cut it to pieces, and lay it on wood, and put it on the fire. put on fire under, and I will dress the other bullock and lay it on the wood and put no fire under. You want to keep reading this?
Just a couple more verses.
And call ye on the name of your gods, and I will call on the name of the Lord. And the God that answereth by fire, let him be God. And all the people answered and said, it is well spoken.
Okay, later on in this same chapter, I believe the same chapter, they had a contest. Elijah was going to ask God to bring fire down and lick up all the bullocks, those that had opinions and two choices to do. They didn't do what they said they were going to do. They were serving a god called Baal. Baal Peor, I believe it is, but anyway, it says Baal here. And as they were doing that, he began to mock them. Fire was going to come down. They had a contest, and the fire was to come down, and it come down, but it didn't do nothing. And then it come Elijah's time, and he said, put some stones out there and put wood on it and all this and soak it down good and everything, put water all over it, and then God's going to send a fire down. Well, that's exactly what happened. Turn over to the 19th chapter, and it tells you about how that Jezebel, after the fire had come and licked up everything that was in there, the bullock and everything else, and Ahab was the king at that time. He runs back home and tells Jezebel about it. And evidently it wasn't too far, because he said he run over and he got there and he told what happened. And Jezebel was the queen of Ahab, but she was a wicked queen. Now, comes right on down to the point where all that happened, and she was after him. And here's four things I want you to think about as Elijah saw what happened. See what power of God there, and took the idols and all those things and killed 450 prophets of them, and he goes over there. But here's four things that happened to Elijah that was depressing him. The first one was fear. And look at that 19th chapter and look at verse 3. First thing, Elijah was frightened. He was threatened of who? Jezebel. He was scared of a woman. Now, he had seen the power of God in the prior chapter. And then he gets scared and runs and frightened. And he runs for his life. Well, that's one thing he did that caused depression. We're not to fear. Men are not to fear what other men are doing to them. So who do we need to fear?
Fear God.
Fear God. Keep His commandments and all. So he didn't do that. He was depressed. He was down. Now, he runs from her. So the first one comes is fear, and we're not to fear men. The second one is failure. Failure. Look at verse 4 there. And Jane, how about reading verse 4?
But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a juniper tree, and he requested for himself that he might die, and said, it is enough. Now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers.
He ready to die, and he is so depressed. Well, he didn't see the 7,000 that God had out there for him. He said there's 7,000 won't kneel down to Baal or any god. He didn't see that. All he seen was the failure he had done, and he got depressed and said, Lord, take my life. I want to be killed. He was getting downhearted. And then the third thing that Elijah happened was fatigue. Janice, I'm not reading 1 Kings 19:5.
And as he lay and slept under a juniper tree, behold then, and the angel touched him, and said unto him, Arise and eat.
He needed some rest right here. He was running from Jezebel, and he was fatigued out, and that's why he wound up on a juniper tree. And God took care of him right there under that juniper tree. And the last one is futility. That means uselessness. In 1 Kings 19:10, Elijah said, I'm the only one left now, and they are going to get me. He feels alone, he feels hopeless, he feels in a negative state, but God still had that 7,000 out there, didn't he? Okay, so Elijah certainly got depressed. Who else? Anybody else want? Okay? Anybody else? Huh? Anybody else want to read? Turn to Psalm 73. Judy, you feel like reading?
Yeah.
Start with verse 1. And remember now, we're talking about depressed. These are children of God that are depressed. Elijah was a child of God, a prophet. He was depressed. And Psalm 73, go ahead and read it. 73 verse 1.
Truly God is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. But as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped. For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked.
Keep going. Yeah. Actually, well, you ain't got to keep going. What basically is happening here is Asaph. I used to think that David wrote the 73rd Psalm, but the more I studied in the 73rd Psalm, I found it was Asaph. And Asaph was downhearted. He was really depressed. And what made him depressed? Anybody know? All right, I'll tell you. He was depressed because in Psalm 73, he saw the wicked, it says, prospering in the world. What does that mean? That means everything they touch, basically, you've seen people, everything they touch, it just turns to gold for them, just in a sense. Well, it seemed like everything that he did was wrong. And it seemed like everything those of the world was prospering from him. And he was downhearted, and it comes right on down, he said, my feet were well nigh slipped. In other words, he was getting weak and frail because of these wicked prospering in the world. But it goes on to say, and if you read the rest of the chapter, and I encourage you to do that, is read Psalm 73. I cried whenever I read that one day. I was sitting on my steps inside the house. We got a step that goes down into a den, we call it. And I was sitting there reading that, and I started, big old tears started coming out of my eyes. And I realized, you're depressed. I didn't say it myself, but I just felt like nobody really cares. I study, I do things, and nothing happens to me good. And that's the way old Asaph felt. He felt like, I'm the only one, just like Elijah did. And he was depressed, and it goes on to say, the wicked prosper in the world, and it comes down and it says, and I understood their end when I went to the sanctuary of God. Where's the sanctuary at? Right here, it's the church. The sanctuary is set apart for children of God, the church is. And it's called a sanctuary. Sometimes it's called the tabernacle. In Revelation, it's called the tabernacle. But the point is, Asaph was depressed. Did God lift him up? When he went to the sanctuary, he did. He put the world away from him. He didn't worry about those that were prospering in the world then. So that's when Job himself, did Job ever get depressed? Yeah. It says there was a man in the land of Uz, not Oz now, it was Oz, but the land of Uz, that's how I remember it was Uz. There was a man in the land of Uz, his name was Job. And this man was upright, feared God, and he was perfect in his generation. But he got depressed. How did Job get depressed? Why did he get depressed? Same way that you and I get depressed. The devil comes to us. The devil, if you read chapter 1 of Job, you'll see, I think it's chapter 1, where the devil came and was constantly after Job to not be a perfect man, a flawless man. That's what perfect means, flawless and incomplete and complete. So Job was a man of God, and he was a hero of faith that's taught in Hebrews chapter 11. Job was in all those, but he got depressed. Everybody can get depressed. It don't matter who you are, how rich you are, how poor you are, whoever you are in the society, the devil's going to come after you. And me. He comes after me, I think, more than he does y'all. He's on my trail all the time. And I feel like Asaph sometimes. I feel like Job sometimes. But the devil comes, and he couldn't take his life. He even wanted to die. Job even said, I want to die. I think in the 11th chapter of Job, where it says he wanted to even give up. So you got Elijah, you got Job, and you got Asaph. These are men of God that love God with all their heart. But Satan come into his life, and Job's life, and was out to destroy him. And he said, well, I'll make a deal with you, God. You just drop the hedge, and we'll see how faithful this man of God is, Job. The Lord said, I'll do that. He did it. He dropped the hedge. Satan still could not penetrate him because of his faith and love for him. He refused to get, this is after he had come out of this state of being depressed, and then he realized that God was taking care of him and every one of the other people. Another one that experienced some grief and despair was Jonah. Did Jonah say, take my life? Jonah himself said, kill me, get rid of me. In Jonah chapter 4, verse 3, he says, take my life and kill me. That's pretty depressed when you want somebody to just kill you. Well, that's how the devil is. He keeps throwing things at you, and that's why he'll find a weak point in your life, and he will destroy you if he gets a chance. And he'll make you get depressed. Well, why can't I have this? Why can't we do that? Because he's powerful too. And the devil, God goes to and fro in the earth, and he can be all places at one time, but the devil can only be one place at a time. And that's good, because you can get range on him. He's in charge of the worldly world out there, and he will destroy you. In Psalm 38, verse 8, says, I am feeble, or is that the phrase, feeble? I'm feeble and sore broken. I have roared by reason of my disquietness in my heart. In Psalm 143:4 says, therefore is my spirit overwhelmed within me. What does it mean, overwhelmed? Just more than I can stand.
Okay.
Therefore my spirit is overwhelmed within me. My heart within me is desolate. What does desolate mean? Out there in the desert, like you're desolate. You're subdued. Subdued means to be quit. Just won't quit. Unwilling to do things. Psalm 137, he says, weep while in captivity the harps of the willows. You remember there was in Psalm 137 where they used to sing songs and play their harps and all these things, and the children of Israel, the children of God was in bondage, in prison, and they wanted to sing the songs of Zion, and they said, we will not do that. Why did they not want to do that? Because it says, huh?
They were cast down.
They were cast down bad. And they didn't want to even play the songs of Zion no more, and they hung their harps upon the willow tree. David said one time in Psalm 42:1, verses 5, 6, and 11, why art thou cast down, O my soul? Why art thou disquieted in me? Why art thou cast down? Well, do you get cast down? Do you get depressed? And I'm not saying it. Why God put this on my heart, I don't know. Because, we don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear that we get depressed, do we? I don't like it, but it happens. So, David felt like that in the 5th and 6th and 11th verse. Why art thou cast down? Now we've been talking all about being cast down here this morning. But let me give you some scripture to lift you up now. Some thoughts. Well, first of all, in Romans 8:31. So David, you read that?
What shall we then say to these things? If God be with us, who can be against us?
Is that a positive statement? When you're depressed, our minds need to think about what God says me, and I can conquer anything. Greater is He that is in you than is in the world. These are encouraging things now. When you get depressed, think about these things. Whenever my parents died, I was depressed. I ain't gonna say I wasn't. I was very down, I was low. And when my mom and daddy died, I felt a peace that passes all understanding. God gave me peace to go through. And every one of us are going to go through something like that. So even though Paul says, the Word of God says he had a thorn in his side, remember? And what did God tell him? My grace is sufficient. I'm going to take care of you. I'm not going to leave you. I'm not going to forsake you. I'm going to take care of you. These are good things now. This is doing away with the depressed state. It gives us comfort. In 2 Corinthians, this is one of my favorite scriptures I love to read. And it's very encouraging to me. In 2 Corinthians 4:8 and 9, it says, we're troubled on every side. Do you have trouble? I have trouble. It may be something simple, but it troubles me. I got a motorcycle towed up, and it has aggravated me, and I got depressed with it, and then I said, I ain't messing with it no more. Little things will trouble you. And we're troubled on every side. Yet, listen to this, on every side, yet, not distressed. What? We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. And here's the word coming after. Cast down. That's another word for depressed. Cast down, but not destroyed. Why? Because you got the Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah, God with us and with Him. And we're troubled, we're cast down. Sickness, troubles, all these things, seems like we have no hope whatsoever. But God won't leave you. He will never forsake you or leave you. In Luke 18, when you get downhearted, you get depressed, there's some things that you can do to overcome. In Luke 18:1, if I remember where it's at, the scripture on it, says men ought to always pray. That's what it says, and faint not. Mm-hmm. We need to constantly pray. And
whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are good, of a good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things.
All right. All these things, whatsoever true, and all these things, think on them. And the other verse I wanted to bring out, if you are depressed and down, and you will be, one of the things that encourages you, and I think that's where it was at, I just can't see it or didn't put it down or whatever, but it's in my mind, start singing a song. I'm talking about the good Christian song. Psalms and hymns. All these things will lift you up.
We will.